Can you please explain what the terms of service are for a website, and should people have them? And
first of all, people get caught up in these terms, pardon the pun. All a terms of service is a contract. It is the, we'll just call it, it's the ground rules by which a person who comes to a website has to play on the website. That's all it is. Number one. Number two, I've done some consulting or some representation of companies that have a presence, and particularly companies that want to take payments over the internet. A lot of these, the payment companies require them to have a terms of service. And there's probably, I would suspect it has to do with perhaps return policies and that type of thing, and disclaiming warranties. And any kind of payment service wants to make sure that if anybody has a problem, they have a problem not with the payment service, but with the company who is utilizing the payment service. That being said, I'm not a big, I don't want to say not a big believer, but I wonder about how valuable terms of service is. Particularly if you think about any contract is only as good as how willing you are to go to enforce its terms. So just because you say, if you do this on our website, we have the right to seek damages from you in addition to attorney's fees and blah, 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 blah. Great. If you're not actually willing to sue somebody who comes to your site for violations of the terms of service, it begs the question, well, how useful is it? Now, it may very well be that you put those things in there to kind of scare people who might want to come to the site. What you could, it seems to me, the only readily enforceable term of a terms of service is to say you reserve the right to revoke access at any time. And since it's your property, you could do that probably anyway.
so you're almost positioning it as you're protecting against rogue users. Whereas often people look at the terms of service as to kind of tell users what they should expect, and sort of almost the users see it as protecting themselves from the website. But
I don't look at it that way.
Yeah.
I look at a terms of service as a shield, not a sword. And I'll tell you what I mean. A website owner that has a terms of service can use that to block users from, say, suing them. And it's very seldom is the owner of the site going to go after a user based upon the terms of service. Although I will tell you, Yelp did this. There's actually Yelp sued a law firm out in California for posting fake reviews on their site. And I wrote about that on my blog, actually. The other issue is, and I think this is another issue where it's useful, is Yelp has for instance, has a term in their terms of service that says if you send them suggestions, anything you send them becomes their property. That may be useful because suppose somebody sends them a suggestion and then uses it, Yelp can then say, that's actually ours pursuant to the terms of service. Or somebody sends them a suggestion and Yelp acts on it, and the user says, "I'm suing you because you used my idea." Yelp can say, as a shield, right? No, you sent it to us. It's therefore ours.
Got it. So it's really for the website owner to protect themselves. It's really. Let me ask you now, kind of a tricky situation. For many businesses who are just starting out, they often do not have a terms of service. So what happens if you get a hacker and they hack your website or something, or breaks your password system? And what's the difference in what your protection is in cases where you have a terms of service or you don't have a terms of service? What can you do against this hacker, and are you able to be protected?
Well, arguably, hacking into a computer, into a website, let's take what's called the legal implications and the contractual implications. There's probably, I won't tell you that I know that there are laws out there against that. But in the same way that there's laws against somebody breaking into your house, you don't need a contract. There's probably laws that say you can't hack into someone's website because you're stealing from them. That's somebody else's property. So there's that aspect of it. The other aspect where a terms of service might be valuable in a case like that is suppose somebody hacks in and who knows what they do. Suppose they steal information. Well, let's step back. Suppose you are a cloud company and you host a site, we'll say, I'm using kind of simple terms here, and you store a company's data. Somebody breaks into your site and they steal that other company's data and then use it, and that company then sues you. Mm-hmm. A terms of service may be valuable because what you could do is anytime a person comes to the site, that person indemnifies the owner if that person is ever sued, somebody ever sues them. Meaning, if you're indemnified, that means if person A sues person B who misused the information, and they're going to sue you because ultimately you were holding the information, you can then turn it right back on the person and say, hey, you came to my site, I have a term in the contract that says you have to indemnify me, which basically means you have to pick up my defense, you have to pay for my lawyers and that type of thing, because it's your fault. And there is a policy in New York that even aside from that, what's called contractual indemnification, there's something called common law indemnification, where the state of New York kind of has a policy that, you know, if I'm brought into a lawsuit because of something you did, I shouldn't have to pay for it. You should, but you do that in a contract or in a common law, in a legal perspective. The other issue with the terms of service is, you know, frankly, if you don't specify it in there, and it's funny because I've read a fair number of these and they don't specify which law applies. You have a terms of service. Which law applies? Where is the website? Right. Where is the user? Suppose you have a user in Ukraine, you have a company in San Diego, and the site is hosted in Singapore. Yeah. Okay. What law applies? Where is it located? And let's be honest here. The notion of a website being located in X country is kind of it's a silly concept. It's not really located anywhere. It's just kind of out there somewhere. Which is why in a terms of service, if you're going to use it, you would specify in there which law applies. Any kind of lawsuits would have, regardless, would be brought in a certain location. Now that might be something that particularly scares a user into obeying it, because you say, hey user, you come to my website and I sue you, it's going to be in this, it's going to be where my company is. Suppose you have a company in San Diego, you say anybody who comes to my website, any lawsuits that arise out of the website, whether if you want to bring it or against me or I bring it against you, it's got to be in San Diego. So so if you say to that person, okay, fine, you're gonna violate it, I'm gonna sue you in San Diego. You've consented to being in San Diego. You're in New York. You want to come 3,000 miles and have to defend this? Stop what you're doing.
So if people want to know more about terms of service or they need help, how would they be able to reach you, or what is the best way?
Probably the best way is I have a website that has all my contact information there. It's my last name, law.com, so pippengerlaw.com. There's email there, telephone number there, that would be the best way. And
you typically give like a 15-minute or 30-minute free consultation? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. People can just chat about their situation with you. So
chat by phone. I mean, I don't know.
By phone, yeah, by phone. If you're in San Diego, he's not coming to there.
But I don't want to chat over the internet either. It's got to be
fair. So that's a great deal for you guys. I know you guys would definitely like to take him up on this offer. So thank you for that.